guys, in today's video we are going to revive this original G Plus barn find. So I'm just kind of going to go over what our first takes on what we got here. Unfortunately, we do have some decals peeling off, which is kind of a bummer, but that's just pretty common on these cars. I mean, these things are from the 70s, so we're going to pop the body off. Thing's pretty dirty. And here is what we got. So rear tires definitely roached. And actually, if you look in there, there is hair around the rear axle. There's like a small dog attached to the motor. So the first thing we're gonna do, besides gag, is we're gonna pull that stuff out of there. And I'm gonna get a paper towel to put it on. So you just don't want to run your car with this kind of stuff in here. Not sure what the heck this is, but this will definitely lead to your motor burning up. I mean, this thing actually could already be burnt up, but you know, they just don't make them like they used to, so it might actually be okay still. It might not be burnt up, because they're just, you know, made tough back then. But it's literally like a piece of twine or string that's on there. It's definitely not hair, unless it's from a wig, which in that case is probably not a very high quality one. Dude, this is gross. This thing's got stuff everywhere. But the tires, because they are foam tires, they're totally crusty. We're gonna pop them off the axle, and that will actually get rid of a lot of that hair. So I'll just dive in here, use our puller. I know that there's special ways that guys say that they can revive these things, but honestly, you can make them feel softer, but you're never gonna make them perform very well on the track. So this looks like it's some red shag carpet. Look at that thing. I wish we had a DNA tester. We could just do it just to check, but I don't want to expose anybody. Okay, next tire we'll pop off. The fronts we don't have a tire option for, so those, although they are pretty roached, we're not really going to be able to do much with those. But the point of this today, we're just going to clean this thing up and get it back on the track and see if we can add a runner back to the collection. So this one, man, this is gross. Okay, so we got that stuff off. The motor still doesn't turn over super good, so it's making me think that there might be a little bit more stuff in there. I'm gonna grab my little pick and probably an X-Acto knife. I'm gonna just try to get as much as I can out of there before we try to put any power to it. So this is where, you know, if you like picking at stuff, you like that kind of stuff, this is definitely for it. You do want to be very careful though and not scratch any of the laminations on the armature, because that'll cause a short and not be good. So okay, so there's more gunk down there. This thing looks pretty close, but you can see there's still more, you know, fuzz and just stuff on the bottom of the motor. I like to use a kneadable eraser. It's also in the slot car world, sometimes, especially 124 scale, they call it magnet putty. And you just kind of stick it around in those places. Let's see here, this guy. And it'll just clean it up a little tiny bit. But like sometimes if a guy used steel wool to clean his old track a lot of times that stuff will it'll be all over the place on these things. And this is a great one. You could use Play-Doh also, but I like the kneadable eraser a lot better. So, okay. We got it to that point. Now we're gonna oil it up real quick. Front bushing, rear bushing on this one, a little bit trickier. Rear axle. You'll notice too, these cars didn't have a rear axle that popped in and out. So to change that, you got to push the axle through the car. We're going to put some voodoo on it also. Probably quite a bit of it just because I want to get it in the brush tubes and everything. But now let's put it up here. And it actually sounds pretty good. So that smell just smells like someone's floor. No, it's carbon smell. It's not a floor smell. But as you can see, this pickup shoe, little Tommy ran that thing pretty hard for a long time. We do have shoes for these, so I might put a set of shoes on it, but we definitely know we're gonna have to put rear tires on it. These tires are glued to the rim, so these are cool 5 spokes, and let's see what size rim it is. You could peel the tire off, but I don't want to get into that today. It's probably a 275 rim. Actually, I mean, I'm getting 281, so it's probably pretty close to 275. Diameter wise, right around 462. They could have shrunk a little bit, so it's hard to say what that is, but we're gonna go ahead and put a set of, probably go with a set of 275s. Actually, let's see. Let's see here, because got some really low fronts on it. And these things are super low profile. They do look stock though, so but yeah, we'll probably go with some 275 rims. Let's see if I have a pair here. So here we go. 275. These are narrows. And then we'll probably go with the if we go with the 432 on a 275, puts us around 450. I might just put a 444 on there, which the 444 on the 275 is going to be like 462 to 464. So that might be what we end up doing, but we'll see. So looking at these axles, there's not really a chamfer on them. They're really, really ugly and nasty, but the rims do have a chamfer on them. I mean, if you were trying to build this into a really good runner, I would definitely say, press the axle out and at least try to put a chamfer on the axle. But our rims have a nice chamfer on them, so the axle, you don't have to worry too much about it going on there crooked in when you use a nice press like this that puts everything on center. It makes life a lot easier. But I believe these axles are oversized too. I mean, typical AFX, they're 63 thousandths. So if you did put like a Tyco axle in this thing, just know that it's going to be a lot more wobbly. But okay, so we got our rear axle on there. Axle does look like it's got some tweak to it, which is not ideal, but like I said at the beginning, the point of this video is to get this thing back on track. So let's see. I don't think I have a set of these spec tires there, so we're gonna take these ones. So I know these are 444s. Okay. Make sure that those, and this thing, it does feel like, it feels like one of the gear teeth is bad, but I've looked at the gear a few times now and I don't see any bad teeth on it, so it's kind of strange. But if you look underneath that thing daylight wise, it's pretty happy. You know, it still has over 1G of downforce because of the motor magnets, so that's pretty good. If you look at the shoes though, see how the nose of the shoe, I don't know if you can see that, Sam, but the nose of the shoe is literally sticking up off the rail. You can see how much movement there is there. So that's why the backs of these have worn so bad, and we're going to try to flatten that out so that we can get a flatter pickup shoe. So you can see how that one now is a lot flatter. This one here, we're going to have to bend it to get it to be like that, which obviously isn't the ideal way to do it, but for this one, for today, I think we can do that. I'm going to give this body just a quick dusting. You guys have seen, you know, in our videos how we clean these things. When they do have decals peeling like this, if you get them wet, they're definitely going to just, the decals are going to fall off. So if you don't want that to happen, the best thing you can do is to just kind of give it a quick wipe down with toothbrush. Just be kind of gingerly around the areas that have the decals coming off. And you can see there's one decal on the front wing. This one's peeling off there. I mean, what I probably would do with this thing is pull all the decals, clean it up properly, and then I would just re-decal it with something more modern day. But obviously with your cars, you guys can do whatever you want with them. Okay, so we got our body on there, and let's head up to the track and just see if this old heap will make it around the track. We rolling? Yep. All right, guys, so we got the car on the track and it's going. So it's on 12 volts. You can see it's got enough power to spin off the track. Uh-oh. So it's a little bit touchy. Some of that's just this controller, because it is set up for more of a magnet car, but if I hustle it, I can drive it pretty hard. Spin around. I mean, these things, they don't really drift. I mean, I can feel that thing's stuck down pretty good, and then right there is kind of where its breakaway point is. So you're not really going to get the fishtailing that you are going to get out of another car. I think too, because of the way the shoes were, it's not ideal running. It's running on the tips now, so the shoes have been bent so many times that they're just not ideal. But it does run pretty good. I mean, I caught it right there. It kind of stepped out and not there though, that time, dead meat. But yeah, overall pretty good. I think for the heck of it, let's put a set of Viper shoes on it just to see where they sit. Still not sure about these front tires, but let's head back and check it out. All right, we're gonna grab these guys out of here. 22699 Aurora G Plus pickup shoes. Let's go get these guys installed. It's a bummer there's not really a front tire option, because these don't even have a front axle. These obviously, these aren't a super hot seller, and this is actually a really old package too, that thing's. So good that we're pulling those back out. We are going to pull this shoe off of here. As you can see, that thing's just old and crusty. The spring looks pretty good. Hanger looks good. And we're gonna go ahead and reinstall this thing. So looks like we aren't able to slide it in from the bottom, so we're gonna have to hook it, drop it down over like so. Things have a really big hinge on them. Also too, if you guys know if this looks like a stock size tire, let me know, because these things are very, very small. But now with that on there, you can see pickup shoe looks pretty good. The backs might be up a smidge. So if they are, I usually will hook my fingernail right in the middle and I'll just kind of push on it a little bit. So this will really vary based on what size your front and rear tires are, but I like to go back and forth on the setup block or on a track piece. You can just barely start to see it coming in. Another thing I'll do is just keep kind of working that. Obviously, you always, you want to try to get ideal pickup shoe wear. Like this side, you can see it's coming in really good. This side is still a little bit toe heavy. Shoes, we call them, what the heck? Oh, the motor thing popped off. On the pickup shoes, we call the heel, or the back of it, the heel, just like it would be if you were wearing shoes, yeah. And then the toe is going to be the front. So I don't know why this bracket is popping off now, but the thing that holds our motor magnets in there. Getting closer. Trying to do this in a way that you guys can kind of see what I'm doing too. Okay, so now we have a nice line on both shoes, as you can see. Does that pick it up?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, let's figure out why this clips keeps popping off. So these things, because of the way that the body fits on here and the way this clip is, they are very, very notorious for doing that. So it might just keep doing it. I don't know. But we're gonna put the body on there. Hopefully that holds it in place. Okay, let's go back up to the track and we'll just see, if it runs any different, smoother. The shoes weren't really a huge problem on that track. It was more or less just the controller being a little bit too sensitive or the power level being too high. But since we changed them out, let's go run them and we'll just double check how the pickup shoe wear is. All right guys, so we got the pickup shoes on there. It actually is more drivable. So I'm barely touching the throttle and you can see the car does have a lot more low speed. So with the other shoes on there, I was having to give it a lot more throttle to get the car to move, and more throttle means more power. And once the car moved, then it would kind of take off a little bit and it was a little bit more uncontrollable, where now it actually is more controllable and it actually is a lot more responsive. So has enough power to break the tires loose coming out of the corner. As you can see, I spun it around. But let's look on the shoes. So you can see they do have a little bit of, the rails on this track. If we look at this thing, they're very dirty. This thing gets used by people every single day. So that's just kind of picking up a little bit of the dirt on there. But the shoe lines look really, really good. And overall, I mean, this is a runner now. So it's a spinner too. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you have Super G Plus tricks, or if you have any insight on the tires, the fronts specifically, let me know what you guys use, because I'd love to look at that option. I have removed this stuff before. I've drilled through it and I've adapted like independent front ends and that kind of stuff to it. But that option's not for everybody. So if there is something simpler out there, let us know. We'll see you on the next one.